Welcome, Tom No from Fifth Round, here with Mark Munoz at Rain Training Center. Mark, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, no problem. First of all, before we get to your agenda, I'd like to talk to you about, because you own a gym and you have a lot of people that you do mentor, I'd like to talk to you about a couple things that are going on in the MMA world of late. Yesterday, Nick Diaz, you have a top welterweight in your gym, Jake Ellenberger.
Yeah.
If that were Jake that would have pulled something like that, what would that conversation have been like to him?
I would basically just say, dude, what are you doing, man? This is your big opportunity. You don't blow stuff like that, you know. And you know, for me, you know, I'm about the individual, helping him be successful, and they have to help me help them, you know. So if something were to happen like that, I would be livid. I would be mad, not because of, you know, what, but not because of me, but because of the success that he can have. And you know, that's the whole thing that we have here at Rain Training Center. And if it were Jake, I'd just be like, dude, I'd slap him. You know, be, yo, man, come on, dude, wake up, you know. So yeah, I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe it, and I don't understand why. I don't have the whole story. There has to be something behind it somewhere, somehow, the reason why he didn't show up, but it's crazy.
Yeah, indeed. The other story that I wanted to ask you about was because you do own Rain Training Center, your goal as a coach or as an owner, you want to build a family atmosphere, you know, camaraderie and things like that. Quentin Rampage Jackson is going to be challenging John Jones for his belt. I don't know if you heard this story where Rampage believes that Jones's manager, Malky Kawa, implanted a spy in his camp, relaying messages and trade secrets or whatever they're practicing at his camp back to Jones. What would that conversation have been like if you guys actually found a rat in your gym that was relaying messages?
You know, the thing is I come from the sport of wrestling, and you can actually tell whoever, I don't care if someone comes in and tells people about what I do, because them actually telling them what I do, they can actually be like zeroing in and trying to figure out, okay, he's doing this, he's doing that, and then they're not going to do anything. They're going to be, in essence, it's paralysis by analysis, you know. So I don't really care if you come in and you tell what I've been working on. It's a totally different thing from someone saying, oh, Mark's been doing this, Mark's been doing that. But then when you step into the octagon with me, you're going to feel it. You know what I'm saying? So it's totally different between someone saying it and someone feeling it. But at the same time, I can see the kind of the betrayal and everything behind that. And I'm not down for that either. But at the same time, for me, I would like to have all my guys to be loyal, to be a family type, a team atmosphere. And in order for us to be a team, we got to have that loyalty and that, in essence, to be there for everybody and every time. And so when we get together, it's we have that camaraderie. And so when people come in, they do have reservations about us, because there's a lot of top name fighters that come here, and we do train hard. At the same time, we break each other down, but we build each other up. So we break each other down physically, but we build each other up, like emotionally, mentally, you know, because we're there for each other. You know, we bleed, we sweat, we cry together. You know, it's just like, you know, when they lose, it's we lose too, because for them to be able to be in the octagon, we actually sharing that experience with them. And so that's what it's all about for me. But at the same time, to answer your question, yeah, you're going to get those type of people, and I feel bad for those kind of people because they're trying to find a shortcut. And there's no substitute for hard work. There's no shortcuts in mixed martial arts, in any type of sport. There's no shortcuts in life. If you decide to do that, you know, I mean, you're cutting yourself short, you know. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep working as hard as I can to become where I want to be in this sport. And, of course, it's going to be tainted with some people that are like that. But at the same time, for you to say something and for you to feel it, it's totally two different things.
Speaking of the sport being tainted, one of the guys you work with, Krzysztof Szosinski, you recently came out and said that he believes roughly 85% of the athletes in MMA are on some type of performance-enhancing drug. Yeah. What's your response to that?
That's crazy. I actually, when he said that, I'm like, what? You serious? He goes, yeah, man, serious. He goes, you're one of the select few. I'm like, really? I'm like, man, see, that's like I said, man, there's no substitution for hard work. You know, guys that are on PEDs, man, they're looking for a shortcut. You know, they're looking for a short way to success. You know, it's kind of like a get-rich-quick scheme. You know, I mean, it's never going to happen. You know, I mean, it might happen for a little bit, but your character is going to catch up to you some way, somehow, and you're going to lose all that money. Same way here. You know, you have a shortcut, trying to get quick, trying to get there some way. When you take PEDs, there's a proven fact that your life expectancy drops, you know, below where it's supposed to be. I mean, you create a shortcut there, you create a shortcut in your life, so it's bound to catch up to you some way, somehow. I've fought guys that were on some stuff, you know, and it's going to continue to happen. But at the same time, my hard work, my work ethic, my, you know, whatever you put into this sport, you're going to get out. And even in that where somebody's taking PEDs, you can still beat them. You know, it's just in the techniques that you've learned and you apply and you execute out there in the fight.
Let's talk about what you've been learning of late. We're about 2 months out from your fight, UFC 138 against Chris Lieben, pivotal matchup. Yeah. 8 weeks. Are you about starting your full training camp, or have you already been entrenched into it?
Nah, I've been doing it for 7 weeks now.
Oh, wow.
I have long camps. Yeah, I have 15-week camps, and I train. After my last fight, I was back in here training, trying to figure out like different ways where I can utilize my skills when it comes to wrestling and jiu-jitsu and wrestling and striking, because I want to evolve and I want to revolutionize the sport in different techniques. And I think that's why people come, because they see the amount of thought that I put into my technique and how I execute it and how I am evolving in the sport. And I had a background in coaching. I got a master's in sports psychology, which is a master's in coaching. Actually, I haven't got it yet. I got to get my thesis done. But
minor technicality.
Yeah, minor technicality, but it's going to happen. But, I mean, I want to be a coach. I want to be a teacher. And that's what I feel that I'm gifted in. And I have compassion for those that want to learn. And that guys that want to learn, want to work hard, dude, I will put everything I can into teaching them what it takes to be successful. So what I've learned so far in this sport of mixed martial arts is no different from what I learned in wrestling. If you put into it as much as you can, you're going to get out as much as you can. And I want that strap around my waist. You know, that's what I'm shooting for. And in a short amount of time, I'm able to be called a middleweight contender and on my way up the ladder. So I'm learning a lot, and it's a testament of who's here training, all my training partners here at Rain Training Center, all the guys that are just my training partners, my coaches. It's amazing. And you know, I have a partnership with Kings MMA with Master Rafael Cordero and all those guys over there. Man, it's amazing. We have a great team.
Part of being a teacher is also studying. If someone were to come to you without getting into your game plan for Lieben, if someone said, "Hey, Mark, I'm fighting Chris Lieben, how should I attack him?"
You definitely don't want to stand in front of him. You don't want to stand in front of him. He gets stronger as you punch him in the face. So, I mean, you definitely want to mix it up. You don't want to stand in front too long. You want to be able to get the angles. That's basically it. I mean, he's a tough dude. You know, he's going to come straight forward. You know, there's like bombs flying at you, you know. So you got to be able to, you know, for me, it's no secret, I'm going to use my wrestling. I always say that. Right. And I throw bombs too. So bombs away. He's going to throw bombs. I'm going to throw bombs. So that's why it's stylistically, it's a great fight, because He doesn't step backwards. I don't step backwards. So let's, you're going to see fireworks for sure.
It's believed that even though, or let's say even if you do win this fight, it's believed you're still going to probably be behind the winner of the Chael Sonnen and Brian Stann fight at UFC 136. What are your thoughts on that?
That's fine. I'm in no hurry. I'm just training to become better every time I step into the octagon, and I have one goal in mind. My long-term goal is to be a UFC world champion, and that's what I want to be. And if this fight gets me a step closer, so be it. If I get a title shot after this fight, so be it. But I'm gonna take one fight at a time, and we'll see what happens.
A little bit ago, UFC President Dana White said that it was possible the next season of The Ultimate Fighter could be over in the Philippines. I don't know how that's going to change now with the whole Fox deal. Yeah. But if that were the case, would that be a good consolation prize if you do beat Lieben?
Oh yeah, man! I would love to be an Ultimate Fighter coach in the Philippines. I mean, not only would I love to be an Ultimate Fighter coach, but for it to be in the Philippines, man, that's an added plus. For me, I grew up as a Filipino, and my parents just richly put the culture into my life, and so I'm a full-out Filipino, man. From the food to the culture to the dress to the to the mannerisms to the way you act. I mean, it's just, I'm all Filipino, man, and I'm proud to be a Filipino American, and I'm proud of my heritage. And for me to go back to where it all started from my parents, that's awesome. And it's going to help me to perfect the language a little bit more, because I grew up here in the stateside, and English was kind of embedded in me. And my parents spoke Tagalog, so I understand it, but they wanted me to respond back in English, so I can understand it, But when I respond back in English. I can't seem to flip it and say stuff in Tagalog, but I'm actually getting better now, because my parents are like, okay, now you have to learn Tagalog. I'm like, okay. So I'm starting to speak back, but it's like Taglish.
It wouldn't make sense for them to have a show in the Philippines and not have a Filipino coach, do you think?
Oh yeah, it wouldn't make sense at all. So, I mean, it just makes total sense for me to do that. So we'll see what happens. The UFC, they're smart, and I'm gonna leave it in their hands and see what Dana and Lorenzo and all those guys are gonna do. But for me right now, I have this fight in front of me, and I'm gonna go out there and train my hardest and put on a show.
Last question: of that Stann and Chael Sonnen fight, who do you think will come out of that, and why?
Oh man, that's a pretty tough fight to call, but I'm gonna go with the wrestler, man, Chael Sonnen. He is a force at the middleweight division, and he definitely is one of the top mixed martial artists out there, and I actually know him quite well, and he's one of the toughest guys I know, and he's just gonna go out there and put it all on the line. That's just his mentality, and you see it in every fight. So he's actually improving. You can see a vast improvement, because he was brought up as a wrestler, and as a wrestler you always have to evolve, you always have to improve, and you can see that in him. So I can see Chael coming through on that fight.
Now, when you say Chael, is that a thing of I know Chael and I wouldn't want to fight him kind of thing?
It's getting to the point where you can't argue who to fight, and we might end up fighting, and it's just that kind of thing, If I had my choice, I wouldn't want to fight Chael because he is my friend, but if I had no choice, I would fight him.
First things first, UFC 138, Mark Munoz, Chris Lieben, November 5th. Check it out. Till next time, I'm Tom No.